I would like to preface this and say I've been quite ill since 2003. I was stricken with stage 4 prostate cancer. 8.5 years later, here I am. And I'm being treated heavily now because it's gotten out of control. But I think I'll make it through this crisis and get a couple more years maybe.
Excellent.
But I'm okay with that. I mean, it is what it is. I'll take the 2 years if that's what it is. I've lost 50 pounds, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why I look like I look. My voice is probably off, but anyway, I can still think. That's the main thing. When I went to Berkeley, I was intending on majoring in physics, which was my passion. I took the first course in physics there, didn't understand half of what was going on. I said, I got to have something more hands-on than wave functions and Fourier transforms. So I went into civil engineering, which was more down to earth, concrete. Calculations, real Newtonian physics like stuff, not Einsteinian. So I did that and I did okay. I got a bachelor and a master's and ended up with a 3.7 GPA. And at Berkeley, that's saying something.
Yeah.
I thought I was so smart when I went to Berkeley. I found out I was just barely average. That was a hard school. One of my professors was Albert Einstein's son, Hans Einstein.
Berkeley was the first time you'd seen Patterson-Gimlin film.
Right. I wrote it off. I simply wrote it off. This can't be. That looks like a man in a suit. Yeah. And there was a lot of controversy about it, as you know. So I just simply said, I mean, how could there be these things out there and you only seen one? It's ridiculous. Well, now I know how that's possible. I had this family reunion. My cousin Gordy said, what do you think about that Patterson-Gimlin film? I said, I think it's bullshit. I don't know if you could put that on a film, but I just think it's a man in a suit. He says, no, it's not a man in a suit. They couldn't possibly walk like that, and they couldn't have that gait, and they couldn't have been that tall, and all this stuff. And he kept after me and after me. And finally I said, Gordy, tell you what I'll do. If you stop talking about that for the rest of this reunion, I will get a book and read it. So when I got back home, I bought Jeff Meldrum's book, Sasquatch Legend Meets Science. Yeah, circumstantial evidence, and then I got to the last chapter, DNA. And it was like a light went on. I said, you can hoax footprints, you can hoax film, you can hoax all this stuff. You cannot hoax DNA.
So now you have this idea that you can't hoax DNA. How long was it before you took that next step and started looking at DNA?
Okay, so, a week. So I was there in August, and in October I had read the book, and I scouring the internet, saw this toenail from Larry Jenkins in Arizona. I said, well, geez, there's all kinds of DNA on that. There's blood on that toenail. But I knew nothing, I didn't even know about the ACGT lettering system. I said, yeah, we can figure this out. Send me the actual sequencing, and I'll treat it like an engineering problem. That's what I did. And it opened my eyes.
And this was 2009.
Probably October 2009. In December 2009, we were already far enough along to know we had to test more stuff. And we found Melba Ketchum and talked to her. And she was very receptive. She was okay. It sounded good. So I went to Texas and met with her with the toenail. And I talked to her I was there 3 or 4 days. And she said, this is interesting. Let's get started. So I paid her some money to start on the toenail, and she tested it and the whole genome, and she says, well, it looks like it's within human ranges. I said, okay, that's fine. What did I expect anyway? So maybe it's a hoax, but maybe not. How do you find out? Test another one. So we tested some other DNA from a different researcher, and lo and behold, of all things, it came out with the same mitochondrial leaf. And that mitochondrial leaf, according to the literature, not according to me, lived in subglacial Europe 15,000, 20,000 years ago during the late Wisconsin glacial events. That particular clan of humans was spread out through Europe, and so they survived the glacial period. But all of a sudden, some strange anomalies occurred, both in the mitochondrial and nuclear sides. These anomalies on the mitochondrial side were not huge because they only had 15,000 years. We saw maybe three differences from any modern human in the database. That's not enough. But when you get two of them that have three differences each, that are not the same differences, but different differences, you could say, well, those two trace back to the same mitochondrial leaf 15, 20,000 years ago. And one has mutated to the two or three or four mutations, and one is mutated to a different two or three or four. Then you could say they're linked back. One was from the northeast, and one is the toenail from the southwest. And I said, Melba, we're onto something here. I can't even sleep because how is that possible that you'd get that close a match on your first two tries? Sample one and sample two, nothing in between. What's the odds of that? Then I ran my calculations statistically, and the odds were 2% that they could have been hoaxes or misidentifications, or just random humans, and 98% that they were not random humans or misidentifications, that they were a new species, subspecies that was evolving. So then Adrian Erickson and I talked to Ketchum and said, look, you got to get testing the nuclear. And she agreed, but she says, pay me and then I'll do it. So Adrian paid her for nuclear testing. I don't have that kind of money. And she did it, and she gave me some results for three samples 1, 2, and 4 actually. And they were non-human. Not by a lot, but by enough to say that these weren't human. But nobody knows how to connect the dots. So they don't think like an engineer, they think like a geneticist. They take each piece of evidence on its own with no connecting the dots. And these are PhD experts, and I've only got a master's degree from Berkeley. What the hell does that mean? Well, it means that I can analyze data and not just jump to conclusions based on something that's 15, 20,000 years old. My God. So she said, yeah, we got to test the nuclear, and she started testing the nuclear. Got some results that, to me, show me unequivocally that these things exist. I'm 97% certain it exists. If not the name Sasquatch, then whatever it is. It is not human, it is not ape, and it's not chimpanzee. It's none of the known hominids out there.
And can you tell from the DNA any other traits of this hominid?
Just that the nuclear DNA showed a red color prevalence, or what do you call them? Red
Reddish.
color prevalence, because it was the color gene. And that's about all I can say about that. Yeah. And I'm going to defer to Ketchum for that because I don't have enough data. Yeah. So my conclusions are all based on mitochondria, and they are not proof, they're evidence. Because evidence is 97%, 98%, and proof is 100%. So I can't say for sure statistically. I mean, not counting any of this evidence here, not counting anything, I can't say for sure. I'm sure they exist. I believe they exist, but I'm only 97% sure, engineering-wise. What happened was that particular insight, which is what I call connecting the dots. I told Ketchum about it. She picked up on it. She's a smart woman. And she said, let's go and test the nuclear. And when she tested that, she said, she must have said, holy smokes. And then she lawyered up. And our relationship went to hell in a handbasket. She asked me to sign an NDA that was so ridiculous. My lawyer said, that's ridiculous. You couldn't even enforce that thing anyway. No, of course you shouldn't sign it.
You and Adrian Erickson were you kind of ousted from this study because you wouldn't agree to her terms?
Yes.
How does that sit in with you right now?
People are people. And I offered to sign the same one we had first. She didn't, her lawyer, I should say, her lawyer didn't like that. Mm-hmm. And she was ticked off at me because I would talk to folks like you. She didn't want anything out there. She didn't even want me to talk to Adrian Erickson. And he furnished some of the samples. But that's her. Yeah. And that's her lawyer, more than that. But she's a very secretive woman. And maybe she's right, but I think that's led to more confusion than anything. I think she's got something valuable to offer, and she wants to keep it secret, you know. And I believe it's in the dollars. I do. So she's been trying to publish for the last year or so, and my understanding is the first time she was rejected, and the reason was she presented a hypothesis that was not scientifically verifiable. That was the reason given over the internet. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But now she seems to think she's been accepted, and who knows. But I'm not very harsh with her because she's very good. And even though she's really ticked off at me in a lot of regards, it's all personal. It's not scientific. And it's because she doesn't want me talking, like on the here. But I'm talking. I mean, I don't have an NDA with her, so.
It's still unknown how much credit you're going to receive at this point in time.
She said she'd give me credit if I'd make a public apology, and if this is it, fine. If it's not it, it's not going to work.
Right.
I mean, it's what it is. I don't care. I'm not looking for notoriety, but we are doing a parallel DNA study. I have 6 samples sitting upstairs to be sent into the study, which is going to be done outside of North America.
Do you feel she could have made progress without you? Would it have gone?
Wouldn't have gone anywhere because she didn't realize that connecting the dots shows a link between sample 1 and 2. Simple as that. And that spurred her. She saw it. She's a smart lady. She saw it and spurred her to continue testing. And wow, the lights went on. And she said, we're onto something here. And I think she's got visions of notoriety.
Mm-hmm. So when this is watched in 20 years, what kind of closing statement would you like to leave for your grandkids and who may not have gotten to know you?
I told you so. I'm a tough old bastard and a grumpy old man.